how smart are they going to get? And is it going to evolve past this? Are we going to get to a point where, like, please don't spoil this for me, but on B3, is there like a doctor monster who's like, you finally found my lair?
What is going on, everyone? Welcome again to our The Last of Us rewatch, recap, reaction podcasts. Um, I'm Phil, along with Joe.
Hi, everybody. And if you can hear my dog in the back, he's so excited to talk about tonight's episode.
So, what episode are we talking about today?
This is episode 5, and it's called Feel Her Love. Is that right?
That is correct, yes.
Which last episode I said would make an awesome rock song. I still stand by that. Every time I hear it, I'm like, Feel Her Love. Something there. There's something there.
Yeah. So let's get right into it.
Yes. So it opens up with Harrigan. Is that how you say the name?
Something like that. I don't know. I hear it and then I immediately forget it. So I'm sure she will pop up again and again. So eventually we'll get her name right, right?
Let's call her Lady H.
Lady H.
So then we're agreed. We are going to call her Lady H. Or it's Harrigan, I think. Anyway.
Something like that. We'll call her Lady H until we remember her name, or until she's appeared in enough episodes where we can pronounce her name correctly.
I mean, Lady H isn't bad. Like, Lady H is the kind of woman that would sing a song called Feel Her Love.
Lady H makes me think she's like married to Triple H.
Oh, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. So Lady Hemsley? All right, Lady Hemsley enters like a boss. So it opens with her coming into a room filled with soldiers, and they're all, uneasy. She passes by a stairwell that is not just blocked, but like soldered and bolted, and like they're like, no one's coming through here. This is a stairwell that shall never be again. And she's upset by it. Then she goes into a room where there's a woman sitting. First, they flash. I caught this on my second watch. They flash one of those hospital charts and says, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel? And they have the pain faces. And I noticed it was number 2 was circled, which isn't bad.
Yeah,
to be honest.
she's pretty good.
Yeah, considering all the hell that's going on in Seattle, and
well, considering the fact that like the person who probably circled that was like on outbreak day.
Yeah, and having like a fine, like, I'm in the hospital, it's a pain, but not bad. I mean, right now I'm at like a 3 or a 4, and I'm not at the hospital. So they go in there, and there's a woman sitting there at the table, and she's about to tell us a story. How do we lead into this? Like, Lady H is mad at this woman because she's killed some of her soldiers.
Yeah, so she wants to find out what's happened, basically.
Right. Lady H wants to get the details, so she's talking to the leader of this group. Turns out this group is the group that is in charge of protecting and guarding the hospital, which is a crucial piece of the wolf puzzle. So this woman has had to kill some of her men. She tells the story. They were clearing a basement. They were clearing the basements of it. There are 3 levels to the basement: B1, B2, B3. They went to B1 and it was empty. She says there was nothing there, not even rats, which is crazy.
Not even rats.
Right. Then the next day she sent a team to level 2, B2, and shortly thereafter, the leader of that team radioed back, coughing and saying it's no good down here. It's in the air. So that, like, it's airborne. Flash the airborne logo. I don't know. So it's airborne, it's in the air, and that's a huge part of the game, right?
Yeah, so there are parts of the game that you play through where there are spores in the air, so you have to put on like gas masks, and they're constantly like putting these gas masks on when there are spores and then taking them off when they're not in areas. So this idea hasn't been introduced up until now in the show.
Right. And it's amazing that, because it's such a part of the game, even early on in the game, but like for them to hold it this long in the show and to use it as like a punch surprise, I thought was amazing. Like, part of me thought that they were never going to introduce it as part of the problem or part of a way to get the disease in the show.
Yeah. And well, with what happens later on in the episode, they kind of have to introduce it, and I kind of forgot about that part of it.
Okay.
Um, while watching this initial scene, I thought it was cool that they were bringing back spores. There's a significance to that basement. We know there's 3 levels. As you mentioned, P1 clear, not even rats. P2 is what we're talking about now with the spores. Um, but we don't know what's in P3.
So if level 1 to 2 goes from nothing to like spores and like new level of hell, then the elevation to the next level must be that much worse. Uh, I dare not speculate right now, but we'll go back to the story and we'll get there eventually. They're going to ignore the problem for now. It seems like Lady H is like, you did us a great service. I mean, in large part because they reveal right away that like the team she sent down was led by her son. Um, so we get echoes of like what's going on with other characters in the story. Um, but Lady H decides they're going to ignore the problem, just like in Kansas City, and I'm sure it'll go just as well.
I don't know that I take it as an ignoring of the issue. It's just that it's not something that they can deal with. It sounds like.
Do you think it's something they're just like, we can never fix this, or it's something they're like, we'll fix this later?
Well, because in this version of the story, spores are something new, so that they haven't really dealt with this. They've always dealt with people who are infected by bites, and it's very much you know as long as I stay away from that infected person,
Yeah.
probably going to be okay.
Yeah.
Whereas the spores are a different issue now. It's if you breathe it in.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Let me ask you this. If Lady H called up a professional in Indonesia and asked her what they should do, what would this professional in Indonesia say?
I mean, I would just throw a couple of Molotov cocktails in there.
No, what I was looking for, of course, was, do you know? Bomb.
Yeah.
Okay, credits. Credits roll. I didn't notice anything different, but I wasn't paying as much attention as I was in the episode after Joel died. Oh,
I didn't see anything different either.
can we say spoilers, please?
Oh, yeah.
Let me say
Spoiler
that
for this
Joel died,
episode.
and then we'll warn everybody. We're doing spoilers to everything up to this episode of season 2 and everything up to this point in the game. So credits end. It's Seattle, day 2, flashes up. We see Dina hard at work. She's triangulating the location of the WLF members. And she's doing that by using their walkie-talkies. They take time in this point in the show to point out that Dina smart, Ellie dumb. Is that accurate?
I mean, I don't necessarily think it's that, because we know from the flashback episode in season 1, the commanding officer of Fedra was talking to Ellie, and he's like, "You're smart. You're a smart person, and you can choose this path or this path." So I don't think that it's not the fact that she's not capable of being smart. It's just that the math part is not her forte.
Okay, all right. She hasn't got her proper book learning, but she knows where Detroit is, as we found out in episode 3 or whatever. Ellie decides to let Dino cook. She let her focus in on her work, and Ellie decides to go off to another room. Turns out that room is this like huge theater with a stage and seats. You know what theaters are. Beautiful ceiling. This is in the game. Yes. How does
This
it
is in the
line
game,
up?
yeah.
How do things line up between the two?
I mean, pretty well actually. Um, the whole scene with Dina trying to figure out where like the patrols and all that stuff, that's all from the game. Um, Ellie going into the theater and then playing a song also from the game.
Okay, here in the show, she starts to play the beginning of that Pearl Jam song,
Yes.
which didn't exist, but she's in Seattle. It's in the ether. It's in the spores.
Is it
Eddie
possible that
Vedder's
we have
score.
some kind of time travel going on here where the song is now being written by Ellie? Maybe Ellie is Eddie Vedder reincarnated?
Ellie Vedder?
Ellie Vedder, yes. Well, we don't know if Eddie Vedder is alive in this world. We haven't.
He could be. Do you think he'd be? Oh, there's no doubt about it. He would totally be one of the side eyes. Uh, what are they called again? Anyways,
Seraphites.
the Seraphites. He would 100% be one of them. He would get sucked into that whole thing, as opposed to Fedra or the Wolves or either of those two. So yeah, I hope they run into him. How crazy would that be? Like if they're in the jungle later on, they're just like, oh shit, it's Eddie Vedder. No, they would. No, they would. He would have been famous. Wait a minute. Eddie Vedder would have gotten the hell out of there. Rich Eddie Vedder would have gotten the hell out of there in 2003.
Is he like on his own little island in the Pacific?
Yeah, he's got all the guitars he needs, and he's he's just strumming away. Uh, yeah, Eddie Vedder's fine, but he's not there. They're not going to run into him. Ellie finds a guitar, maybe Eddie Vedder's old guitar. Hard to say. Actually, no, it's not. Like there's a band named on the marquee, and it looked like they were going to be playing that night. Ellie finds a guitar on stage, and she starts to play "Future Days" by Pearl Jam. And she sings the first line. What's the first line? Do you know it offhand?
I think it's something like, "If I ever were to lose you, I'd surely lose myself,"
Okay, sounds good.
which thematically is kind of on point.
And this qualifies as our weekly Joel reminder. And it's a good one. Like I felt her missing him. I felt him. And it changes her as we'll see. Like Dina comes in and Ellie's like, "Did you find out what you needed to find out?" And she's like, "I did." And then Ellie's like, "Well, let's do it." Like she's like ready to go, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting to contrast the scene from last episode where Ellie plays the guitar versus this scene in this episode where she plays the guitar, and obviously they're two different songs. Um, but whereas the scene from the last episode, she plays that through, and it's more about Ellie and Dina's connection. This one is about um, Ellie's connection with Joel, and she doesn't even get that far into the song.
Yeah, just the one line and the opening guitar riff, or riff. That's not the opening guitar lick. I don't know. And it's not like she's even playing it to anyone except, of course, the ghost of Jackson. But yeah, I still thought it was really nice. Like, is this the point in the game where she plays Future Days? Or
Yes, I
okay,
believe so.
so you can skip the Aha song, but Future Days is mandatory.
Correct, yeah. You have to play that to continue.
Sweet. Speaking of Aha, we got our first listener feedback.
Yes.
Yeah.
Someone took issue with the fact that we said that Aha only has one good song.
He had no good. He
This
had
person
no good
mentioned
evidence.
one other song.
I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't even remember the name of that song, which is how much of an impression it had on me.
Should we read the conversation back briefly?
I mean, we can.
This is not just a listener, it's also our friend, so he texted us directly that we were wrong, and we're like, we weren't. I mean, we might be. Here we go. We were not.
One good song.
He says, Aha was huge in Europe and Asia. That could be true. I bet it is. They just couldn't get any traction in the US besides Take On Me. I mean, it's weird that they couldn't get traction because Take On Me was huge. It was, I mean, still is. It's still a song that everybody knows. And it's a great song. So he texted that, and then you replied, all caps, no punctuation. One good song.
I mean, I stand by it.
And then I backed that up with one good song, no punctuation, all caps. Okay, says he recommends Sun Always Shines on TV is a good song also. And thus concludes my Aha knowledge.
I mean, I think I rest my case.
He then says, I was today years old when I found out they did a James Bond song for the Living Daylights. And he says, I hope we're not telling tales out of school, but he says, I couldn't make it past 30 seconds on that song. Timothy Dalton is not my Bond.
30 seconds? Doesn't sound like it's a good song.
Well, yeah. I mean, if it was, could you think it could have converted him to Timothy Dalton? Probably
I mean,
not.
a good song can do a lot of things.
A good song is magic. Hey, if it was as good as Take on Me, I might be like, oh, Timothy Dalton. Wait, do you have a Bond? Who's your favorite Bond?
I mean, Daniel Craig is really good in the first couple of.
Easy. I think he's good in all of them. I don't know if all the movies are good.
I don't. I feel like they got um, like I think Casino Royale. This is spoilers for Casino Royale. Maybe I don't know. We'll find out. Uh, Casino Royale is so grounded, and it changed kind of the paradigm for Bond for that movie. But then it started to like as it started to add more things onto it. It felt like for me it like fell under the weight of all that stuff.
I would agree with that. Yeah. I will say though that we got lucky with our Bonds in our adulthood. I think Brosnan was good, and I think Craig was good, and I think whoever next will be fine. I'm sure. All right, Bond talk is over. Let's get the Bond out of here. Dina comes in. Ellie's rejuvenated. Let's go. The plan. They do a scene where they go over the plan. And it comes down to she has seen Dina has triangulated all the routes. She then says there's this, they have a blind spot. And it happens to be this, she lays down a map and says it's this long ass building. And Ellie asks, well, why wouldn't they be doing that? Or why wouldn't they be keeping a close eye on that? And it's probably because of the infected. They have a conversation about the Seraphites versus the WLF and like how in the past they are. Dina tries to relate them to the Amish. And she talks about the Amish briefly, and it sounded very much like The Village. I was like, oh, I'm getting Shyamalan vibes. I don't think of the Amish like that, but I guess it kind of is.
Well, they don't use like specific technology like up to a
Right.
certain point. They're like
And they
uh,
don't lie to their children or dress up like, I mean, spoilers for The Village.
but yeah, they use buttons, but they don't use zippers. Like there's a point at which they're like, okay, no new technology.
New to, okay.
So
I
they
didn't,
all that stuff exists in like they interact with it, but
but
yeah, they just don't use it.
yeah, fascinating. They say to themselves when they're talking about this long ass buildings and how it must be dangerous inside. It would be reckless to do it. And Ellie says, let's go be reckless. So they're willingly diving in, which is cool, which is fine. It's part of the mission. It's what they need to do. They take to the streets. Ellie says, I don't trust Seattle. They talk about the baby, and Ellie asks, what are you going to name it? And Dina says, do you remember?
Um, if it's a girl, Ellie. If it's a boy, Elijah. I want to say
Right. And Ellie says, really? And Dina says,
no.
no. They are stopped in their tracks where they see written on the wall, feel her love. And a depiction of the prophet. Have we seen a depiction of her before? Or I can't remember if there'd been a
I,
painting on the wall or.
I feel like this is the first time we've seen a picture of their prophet. We've seen the graffiti "Feel Her Love" before. We've seen the kind of the Seraphite symbol, but I think this is the first time we've seen like a picture or representation of the prophet.
Right. And it's crazy to me that there are places in this city where the girls can make all kinds of noise. I mean, in this episode, Ellie turns on the lights. She turns on a generator, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Lay low." But apparently, they can really make as much noise as they want. But then there's also another part of the city where the Seraphites have time to paint a full portrait. um, Below the portrait and the quote is a pile of the Seraphites who have been killed. And there's graffiti beneath that, just above them that says like, that mocks them.
Yeah. So I'm curious about the graffiti. Well, the graffiti and the kind of the mural of the prophet, because I feel like it speaks to the kind of the backstory of both Seattle and the WLF and the Seraphites.
Okay.
Because I'm sure, because I mean that mural probably took a while. Like it's probably not like a quick tag. You know what I mean?
I see. I see. It wasn't like they were just under the cover of night. Let's paint. Let's craft a perfect mural. It was probably there, 5,
Yeah.
10 years ago, whatever.
And then like it probably predates the conflict, or maybe the conflict between the Seraphites and the WLF. And I'm curious, like, if we'll ever see that in the show.
I mean, that makes 100% more sense, and I really hope we see it because as the first season was juicy with flashbacks, and we haven't really gotten any in this season, and there's only 2 episodes left. Is that right?
I think 2 episodes, yeah.
And one is definitely gonna be a flashback, but how great would it be to get a flashback of Seattle when it was Fedra versus the people that were just trying to be, and the rising up of the prophet. If we could see that, that'd be so cool. Of course, they still might give us that in the 3rd season or season 2B or whatever they're going to call it. So I'm holding out hope, but a flashback would be amazing. Okay, when Ellie sees the bodies, I mean, first Dina is of course overcome and with her morning sickness, which is terrible, and again has to throw up after seeing or smelling the bodies or whatever. Really realize he like clicks with her for the first time how insane this is and how dangerous it is for Dina. And she offers to take Dina back, not for them to go back, but she's like, I can take you back in a way that implies that I'll
Yeah.
take you back and I'll just catch the next bus up.
Yeah, Ellie's gonna go back for Dina, but she's not abandoning their mission or
Right,
her mission.
right, right. And at this point, we get Dina's story. Do you want to run down Dina's story?
Yeah, so I think this is actually new for this show, because I don't necessarily remember this from the game.
Okay.
So in a previous episode, Dina asks Ellie, "What was your first kill?" And then she tells a story about her first kill in one of the previous episodes in the first season, which we didn't Joel kill that guy.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
But Dina says to Ellie, "You never asked me who was the first person I killed." So Ellie asks, and she tells a story of when she was, I think she mentioned in the story that she's like 8 years old. Um, they lived in a cabin in, I want to say, Santa Fe.
That sounds right.
Um, and it was her sister, and her mom. And she's telling about the story about how she just wanted to go outside and play. She goes outside and plays. And then when she comes back, there is, I believe she says, a raider, or that's what Ellie guesses. Um,
Well, I guess it's raiders, and Dina just corrects that it was one.
Yeah. So, obviously didn't turn out well for Dina's mom or sister, because Dina says, "Well, I don't live in a cabin in Santa Fe anymore, and I don't have a mom and a sister." So
Right.
you can figure out what happens. So it turns out that Dina had a gun and presumably killed that raider after what the raider did to her mom and sister.
And then she was an 8-year-old girl. I mean, she doesn't say this, but she was an 8-year-old girl alone in this disaster of a world. It must have been so crazy.
Yeah, and Dina. Well, so Ellie asks, well, how'd you get to Jackson? And Dina's like, I think she says, like, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
she doesn't want to answer those questions, or
Yeah, she's not ready to have that conversation, but this is such an important conversation for them. And it's like if people are going to rewatch scenes in this show, this is an important one for their characters and an important one to watch, because it really shows you where she's coming from in a way that we haven't seen before. Like the ray of sunshine we were talking about in the first episodes, you wouldn't have guessed that she had such a rough, moment. She talks about how she's in it with Ellie. This is what matters. And she says, whatever Joel did, he didn't deserve what they did to him. And she talks about how the guy that killed her parents, it would have been worse. Would it have, what would have been like if she had come back early and seen them being killed, or like, would it have been justified if like her mother had killed his mother or whatever, like, the Raiders' mother. Like, she talks about a lot about like what's going on with our cast of the uh, I killed you kill me. Yeah, the back and forth that Isaac was talking about to the in his pop conversation. Um, it's a great scene. I'm not explaining it well, but it's really good.
Yeah, I'm like, I think it's interesting her telling this story about the kind of the what ifs, like what if she was coming back a little bit earlier, or what if this, what if that, and it's interesting because it kind of ties into um what happens with Ellie and Abby. So like, what if what if Abby had just straight up killed Joel instead of torturing him first? Ellie would have never known that Abby was there
Right.
because they probably would have left almost immediately after they killed Joel.
They just would have found Joel's body, and that would have been the end of it. Yeah.
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 What if they killed Abby, or what if they killed Ellie instead, or not instead, but in addition to, none of this would be happening right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Um, Dina then tells Ellie, if you want to go back, I will go back with you. If you want to go on, I will go on with you. But she emphasizes that it's Ellie's choice. And then Ellie says, keep going. She doesn't say it like that. She says it like she needs to keep going. Was Dina disappointed in this moment? Does Dina want to go back? Or is she really down for revenge? Like, her whole thing was about like, I understand what you're going through. And we are now united. So like, I'm with you no matter what. Does she also want revenge? Because she also loved Joel too.
So I think she wants what Ellie wants. I don't know that Dina would have gone to kill Abby herself,
Sure. Yeah.
but because it's what Ellie wants, Abby is down for it, or Abby is willing to support her.
Can accept that. Great scene though. Real nice middle of the show scene. Then we then fast forward to nightfall, and we see them sneaking into a building past the most pathetic fence I've ever seen. I mean, it's not that pathetic, but compared
That
to
fence will fail you at some point. So
okay, yeah, exactly. That fence will fail you at some point for sure. So they get past the fence and they go inside, and they look around, and it's described as haunted but empty. They know how big the building is, so Dina starts estimating what could be in there. She's like, how bad could it be? A couple clickers, you know, infected. Nothing we haven't dealt with 1,000 times before, or 10,000 times, I think she actually says. But she emphasizes shooting should be a last resort. And Ellie's like, what? You think I always jump right to it? And she's like, you're a little crazy. And that's exciting. But she does want to make it home alive. I thought Ellie would be like, all right, no problem. And then open the door. She's like, pop, 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 pop. They travel down a hallway. And there's a point where Dina like stops them and sort of like, it's almost like she's trying to feel the vibes of the rooms. Like, let's not go this way. Let's go this way. And then she leads him into a room that's insane. It's this huge open space, and she says, "There's lots of windows in here. Window watch. We'll get to it later." Um, and they're in there just kind of like taking things in, and they spot one of these infected. And Ellie identifies it as one of the smart ones, she calls it, and they sound weird. Like,
yeah.
they're almost like cats or babies.
So what I gathered from either like maybe both the game and the show, if it's a cry of like a helpless helpless creature or helpless person. Like it's like as if it's crying out for help. Like
Oh, that's interesting. Like,
it's luring potential people or potential like hosts in.
is this weird? And you can tell me if this is weird, but the first thing I thought of was the Green Goblin in Spider-Man when he dresses up as an old lady in the burning building. Save me, Spider-Man. Okay.
I mean, it's a little bit like that, yeah.
It's the same as that. uh, oh God. That's great. I love that for Spider-Man. Would he be alive in this world, you think? Would he have made it? Probably. He's a smart guy.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's got tough skin. He can't be bit like a normal human.
I mean, he can be bit. Like
Is he durable?
I don't think he's not impervious to. I think he's got the proportional strength of a spider,
But not
and
the
spiders aren't like invulnerable.
That's true. The spiders are not known for their shells. All right, point taken. He's still smart though. I bet he would have made it out. Um, so they spot a smart one. I mean, it's weird. Like, not only is this kind of like sad, helpless mewing that they're using to lure people in, later on, it's almost like they're communicating. I mean, first they spot a second one, and they're like, we need to get the hell out of here. Then they turn around, and there's more behind them. And Ellie's plan is like Dina getting that it's a cage, like a electric cage,
Yeah.
it's called something, right? It's like a scientist's box. What are those called? Like
You may be thinking of Faraday cage, but it's not a Faraday cage.
I am thinking about a Faraday cage. Thank you. But Lady H and I call it a scientist box. Thank you. Yeah, it's not a Faraday cage. Um, so she says, go hide in that and I'll get bit as much as I have to. Not a great plan, but it's one that keeps Dina alive an extra 5 minutes. Dina makes it, although they're ripping into it. But then Ellie's kind of shooting them, and there's one coming towards her, and it kind of like head fakes her a little, and then makes a noise, but it's almost like it talks to another one to then charge from Ellie's side, and I thought to myself, oh, are they talking to each other? Like, how smart are they going to get? And is it going to evolve past this? Are we going to get to a point where, like, please don't spoil this for me, but on B3, is there like a doctor monster who's like, you finally found my lair?
Like I kind of sense where you were going with this, and like immediately I thought of like Stranger Things. Spoiler for Stranger Things. Like Vecna.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That exactly. Yes. Like, is that what's going on down there? No spoilers. We'll find out next week, hopefully. Um, but it is interesting to see that in the game how in the game, I assume, and in the show how they've evolved from to this next form. And then the form we're going to see on the second floor, even basement 2 is crazy, but we'll get there. Then Jesse comes in to see. You don't know it's Jesse at first. Who do you think it might be? Like, they're
So
playing.
I knew who it was immediately because I played the game. But like, who did you think it was going to be?
Well, I swear, I was like, oh, Jesse's there. Like, something clicked. But the way it's shot, they really want you to think, like, it could be Tommy, it could be a stranger, it could be Jesse, it could be the ghost of Joel. Just, I mean, they really are pushing that whole, like, it's a Joel figure. My God, could it have been Eddie Vedder?
I mean, it could have been Eddie Vedder.
Oh my God. He's
That
like,
would have been a great cameo.
what if he's like, hold my guitar, little mama? And then, I don't know why he talks like Elvis. But then he like pulls out guns. He's like, pop, 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 pop.
So I want to say something about I guess it's not technically the game, but it is like game adjacent. So um, this scene is a little bit different in the game where Jesse comes and essentially saves Ellie.
Partly because Ellie went up to get Tommy and she didn't go with Dina. Is that right? Or was Dina with her?
No, she went with Dina. It's just that Tommy went first. Maria talked to Ellie and Dina and told them to get Tommy, and then Jesse came. But so in the promotional trailers for Last of Us Part 2, you see this scene, but it's not Jesse who says those lines.
No, who is it?
It's Joel.
This show.
So,
Playing games with us.
so I mean, the whole point of that misdirect is to kind of move the focus away from Joel potentially dying like he did early on in the game. So they were showing like because if you've seen our Thunderbolts videos, you know what we're talking about. But anyway, not talking Thunderbolts. We're talking Last of Us. So there were scenes in the trailer where it takes place in the cabin with Abby and all that stuff. So um, to kind of obfuscate the outcome of that, they put Joel in that scene. Um, so people are like, oh, Joel makes it out there, so he must survive that somehow.
Well, it worked because even after he died, I was like, there's still so much Joel in the trailer. Like, I'm sure he'll be throughout this season a ton. And it's now been like five episodes since. No, this is episode 5. It feels like 5 episodes. But it's only been like 2
It's
anyway.
only been 2, yeah.
That's crazy. It feels like it's been way more. it, so he's still like, I still thought he'd be in it a lot more, even in flashback. But it's crazy that they would do a misdirect like that. I mean, not that crazy. It worked. But the show has gone on without Joel, and I think it works without him. I mean, it's definitely in a different kind of direction, but it's definitely a show that I enjoy watching. But Joel is still there, and he has like this iconic status, so he's sort of ever present. I don't know. There's a point I want to make. I mean, later on about. I wrote a note down. It says, "Oh, so Joel's out of the show. Our main characters now are like Ellie and Dina and Isaac and Abby, but Isaac and Abby have not really been in the show.
Yeah.
Like Isaac, I think you could say has been on screen for 7 minutes,
I
maybe.
mean, I think that's kind of generous, but
Well, it's 2 scenes, but he does a lot of talking in those scenes. Uh, but they still are ever present. Like Isaac is mentioned at the beginning of this episode, and you still are aware that he's kind of like a boss. Um, and Abby is regularly mentioned, but almost like elevated. And I think that's mirrored also in the Prophet. Like you have all these figures that aren't there, but are
yeah.
still like haunting you, are still with you.
Yeah. So, and I mentioned this, I think, in a previous episode of this recap, the idea that the prophet is now an idea. Similarly, like uh, Abby is an idea in Ellie's mind now.
Right. Doesn't even matter why Abby did it, or who she is as a person. She's just this person, this idea, like you said. Last of Us, crazy shit. All right. Jesse comes in and then saves the day, and then they make a run for it. They really are being reckless, and Jesse kind of like taking charge and leading them to safety, leading them away from danger. They're not
Oh,
safe.
leading them away from the danger that is chasing them.
It kind of puts, yeah. Like Elliot says to him, like, we were doing okay up until just, and Jesse's like, up until when? But is Ellie good at this? Like, we don't get to see Ellie be good. And how can we root for her if she's super, super reckless? Like, she's like a reckless child the whole time they're in Seattle. They are barely getting through. Like, they're just running away from stuff, basically.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, so to think back to season 1, where Joel's mission was to get Ellie from, across the country, um, like he, while trying to keep Ellie safe, um, kind of also put her in danger a lot as well.
Yeah, he sort of bumbles through it too.
Yeah. We're gonna get some scenes of Ellie having panic attacks, I think.
my God, just leaning up against a stump.
Oh.
So she's coming full circle. I love it. Okay. We won't dwell on this now, but I think it's an important theme that we'll come back to in later episodes. Um, they run into a park, and the wolf people will not chase after them. They're like, "We don't go in there." And he's like, "Who are you telling me? I know we don't go in there." Jesse confirms that Tommy came with him, and they split up to find the girls faster. And Jesse's the real deal because he was able to track them. They're like, "How'd you know where we were?" He's like, "I found your map in the theater." So he's being able to track them the whole time and everything. Okay, so uh, and he snaps at Ellie. Like he's had enough of her. Like, he's been very cool with her. Like they're friends, all that. She's a wild card, but he's like supportive and a friend. And this time he's like, enough. Like this, like we're in real danger. He doesn't say this, but we're in real danger. Do you think he knows about the baby? Because he'd go off, right? He'd go completely insane. Anyway, they're gonna make a great, you know, three parents. um, but then whistling. We hear whistling, and it's straight up terrifying. Like I still can't believe the way they introduced the this group with the whistling and the nice scene. And now I'm afraid. I'm really afraid of them. Like
Yeah.
so much more than the WLF people, who I think are kind of like called out as like morons in this. Like um, Dina, they like roll their eyes when they're talking about them. Sometimes they're like they're on their radio all the time. They just they're doing stupid things. They're being reckless. But the Seraphites are scary.
Yeah. Well, I think Dina makes the point that the WLF is fighting against a group that wouldn't have the technology that they're using. So they're being reckless because
They know no one's listening.
yeah.
Yeah, they're underestimating their enemy.
I I don't know that I would characterize it as misunderstanding them, but like they're not aware of a potential third group, which is Ellie and Abby, that are listening to them.
Does this confirm though that the Seraphites don't have like a Rumspringer where they can listen on that day? Like you're on Rumspringer duty. Go listen to the radio. All right. Then the whistling happens, and we get a scene of like their ceremony, a ceremony. The Seraphites have captured one of the WLF, who is desperate and pleading and says, "I will join you." And I don't know if they say it's too late, but they might just ignore that he's talking, and he gets strung up and then disemboweled. Is that is like yeah.
Yeah. So we basically see how what happens in the TV station in last episode happens. So they string him up, they tie a noose around his neck, and like they pull him up, and the main Seraphite has a sickle.
Yeah, I think it's a sickle, yeah.
And like basically the other, I think two Seraphites like pull him up, and just
Yeah.
the guy just keeps the sickle where it is.
Oh my God, I was about to say the same thing. Bro just is like, "I'll push it in." No, you pull up.
I'm just gonna keep walking like this.
Yeah, like that's what does the drag. He doesn't drag it down the body. He makes the body go up.
Yeah.
And then the everything spills out, and he cleans the blade and says, what does he say? Now he is free, which is the creepiest shit.
And I feel like there's probably like some symbolism in them like pulling him up,
Oh
because
yeah,
it's
he's
kind of a
being
like a
aggressive.
religious, yeah.
Yeah, totally. But it's way funnier that if we approach it from the angle that the guy is just super lazy. Pull now. Before Dina can throw up at this, she gets shot in the arrow with an arrow in the leg.
Yeah. So I don't know about you, but did you immediately think of Ace Ventura?
No. When
No?
does he get shot in the leg?
There's a scene in Ace Ventura, like I don't know which, if it's one or two, but he gets shot in one leg, and he's like, ah! And he gets shot in the other leg. He's like, ah! Ah!
All right, that is definitely Ace Ventura 2 when nature calls. Um, and
But
now
immediately that's what I thought of.
that's pretty good. Um, then they head on to Ellie's plan. Ellie tells Jesse, take her back to the theater, or I'll meet you back, get her to safety. I'll meet you guys back to the theater. And again, she's drawing people away. That's her plan. And she does. She runs, and the whistlers follow her until she sees an entrance to the she sees a sign and then a hole. And she's like, this is good. And the sign indicates that this is the hospital. So she has reached her ultimate destination, in this moment anyway. Inside the hospital, we see Nora, from who we know from the first and second episode. She's now bald. I mean, it's been like a few months. Was she bald? No, she was bald.
She was bald, yeah.
Right. She wasn't bald in the initial flashback back in Salt Lake. Is that what it was? But she's bald now. Anyway, it doesn't matter what her hair is. She's finishing up someone's. She's treating someone, maybe cleaning up stitches. I don't remember. She's doing her hospital duties. It's a dark hospital. Like
they're keeping the lights off because they want to conserve their generators, I think.
I mean, these guys, they're all probably too young to have seen the time machine. Like, this is how the Morlocks were made. You don't want to like go all white and have the eyes and yeah. Anyway, to me, she felt really disconnected, just like I was describing Manny. Like, she's not passionate about this. She's like going through the motions, and maybe it's just the world they live in, but does not seem happy to be part of this group. She goes over to a sink and she pours something over clothes. I'm guessing bleach. She's bleaching the blood and whatever out, or
Yeah,
whatever.
I'm not sure. Yeah. Something.
The only reason I speculate is because she's about to throw it at Ellie. Ellie engages with her and says something like, don't move. And then she gets right down to business. She's like, where's Abby? And they have a conversation. Nora's kind of trying to say, oh, we could have killed you. And she also admits, like, what happened to him wasn't okay. It shouldn't have gone down like that, kind of. She tries to empathize with what she's going on. And I feel like we don't see a lot of that in this show. So I was happy to see some. But before she could finish a thought, she basically is like, that's what that bitch deserves. She throws the bleach or whatever it is. Oh, before that, she tells Ellie about Joel. Or no, this happens later.
Yeah.
It happens later. I beg your pardon.
But I think what is interesting is that Ellie, when she walks into that room, she's got the gun pointed at Nora, and Ellie's like, "Do you remember me?"
Oh, right.
And Nora doesn't answer, but Ellie's like, "Yeah, you remember me."
Do you think she does? She's like, I don't know. Nora does confirm that she remembers her, only in that she says, like, I mean, they're then talking about Joel dying. She says she thinks about it, or not a day goes by I don't think about it, or whatever, which could be true. I don't know. It's been a couple months, right?
It's been at least 3 months, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, she's on the run. Nora takes off. Ellie's like, oh, come on. And she chases off after her. Nora's yelling, intruder, shoot her. And some terrible terrible guards shoot at Ellie, but it doesn't work. Nora heads over and she winds up in front of the stairwell that's been sealed off. And she can't get in there, and she
pulls a Tommy from episode, what is it, 3? Episode 2, I think. When he runs with the flamethrower like into a corridor that's all
not over here, not over here. Yeah, it's totally like that. Then she finds a crack in an elevator, and we learned in the first scene that the elevators are all on B1, or they're all just below the ground floor. But the shaft was open, so she's able to climb in and hop in. When she does, it jostles the elevator and it falls down, and we see very clearly, she looks at it. It says B2. And she's like, she knows what's in there. Like, she knows that she does not want to go in there, right? Do you think she knows about it being airborne? She must, because later she talks about it.
Yeah, she talks about the spores a little bit later. My assumption is that she does know.
Yeah.
But in the flashback scene that opens this episode, they do mention that they're gonna keep it on a need to know basis. So I'm curious how far that went.
They do say that. Is the need to know basis everyone that was in that room in the first scene because it's like all those people must know, and like that's a secret you can't keep in the people that work that close together. Anyway, so she is Ellie's still after her, and Ellie has a gun, so she decides to, risk it. Ellie follows. She comes down. When Ellie comes out the doors on B2, she finds cordyceps, the the growths everywhere. It's on the walls and everything. And as she turns
It's
around
a
the corner, go ahead.
it's like a supercharged version of what we saw in episode 2, I want to say, when Joel and Tess find that one guy like exploded on the wall, basically.
Right, yeah, he's like part of the wall. Yeah. Yeah, it's that, and it's I don't know, it's beautiful. They did a great job. I still in real life I would be like, I'm not going in there. Like not because I'm now familiar with them as monsters, like it's just as creepy as hell, but beautiful. She moves closer and you can see the dust in the air. So like if you're a game player, you're like, oh my God. I guess they spoiled it earlier. They're like, it's airborne. So so okay. But this is it. Like it's confirmation. And not only that, but like they are like these trees of people now. Like the people are in there. There's people, she finds people like stuck in there and they're breathing out the thing. And it's the creepiest thing ever. Just like, just this, the spores. Um, I think I heard someone online, someone say they breathe in oxygen and breathe out the contamination.
Yeah, I like to think of it as mushroom dust.
Okay, mushroom dust. I like that. Ooh, like a truffle, just a little bit on top.
Well,
um, she gets real close, and we can see clear as day that these are the people that were being talked about in the first scene. So we get to see that we get confirmation that I think we see two people, and one of them is definitely the son of the.
yeah, you can actually see his name tag. I think it does say it says L Park. I want to say.
Yeah, that sounds right. What shocked me is they look like year 4 infected. Like it's all over them. So and that happened yesterday. Like it's
Well, we don't know that it happened yesterday. We know it happened sometime in the past.
really like they made it seem like it was like it happened just now or it happened.
Well, I don't know that we get a confirmation of when that opening scene took place.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So that means Isaac is always dealing with those Seraphites. All right, that's fine. Okay, but these guys are down there. It's a mess. Um, then she continues her search for Nora. She turns a corner and it's a corner where there's only one light bulb and the light bulb is red. Really cool. Very, I was like, oh, Daredevil. Because like there's so many shots in Daredevil where it's like, let's put on the red filter. Uh, but she looked really cool. And after I was like, oh, cool Daredevil, I thought, oh, this is Darth Ellie. Like she really has that kind of like vibe. And the look on her face is like determination and I'm up to no good. They talk about Nora's there and Nora's coughing and Ellie's breathing just fine, which seems weird. Like I'm not allergic to pollen, but if there was a lot of pollen in the air, I wouldn't be breathing fine. Do you know what I mean? They talk about or Nora realizes that she is she's immune. And she's like, "Oh, you're her." And then in that moment, Ellie is another legend, like the prophet, like Joel has become for us, like Isaac and Abby are in the show that we don't see them in, but they're there. They're legends, and Ellie is a legend to her, which is cool. Like Ellie's, she's the boy who lived. She's like got that Harry Potter status. And she try Nora knows she's gonna die.
Well, yeah, she thinks initially before she realizes that Ellie isn't coughing that like you've killed us both. Like we're both gonna die.
That's right. I forgot that.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, when Nora realizes that Ellie is the person who was immune, she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna die."
Oh, wait. Quick correction. I'm going to die. Tell my story. Ellie's super focused. She's like, yeah. Where's Abby? Although she does say, what when Nora tells her what Joel did, Ellie says she knows. And we're talking about how Joel killed everyone in the hospital. Part of me thinks, yes, she knows. Like, Joel told her at some point, and that's why they were mad at each other in the beginning of the show, or the beginning of this season. Another part of me is like, she's in too deep right now, like, and it doesn't matter that this person who she loved lied to her. Like, she's on her mission. And like you were saying before about ideas, like, just the idea of Abby is enough to where she's just gonna keep going. It doesn't matter. And then she goes real dark. Did this work for you, where she's beating Nora instead of just putting her out of her misery?
Well, I mean, I think she doesn't put her out of her misery because she's still trying to get that information from
Yeah,
Nora. So, in the same way that Joel would torture people,
100%. Yeah, right from the
Ellie's
beginning.
now torturing Nora.
It's tough when Joel. It's such a double standard, but like when Joel does it, when Tony Soprano does it, when Walt from Breaking Bad does terrible things, it doesn't like. It's almost like easier to accept. But seeing Ellie, who was like innocent, and see her go bad was real hard. Like I don't know how I've processed it. Um, whereas like when Joel did it, I don't want to. It wasn't cool, but I was quicker to forgive. Like, oh, that's just Joel. He comes from a different era. Is that the right terrible phrase to use? I don't know.
Well,
I didn't want. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is I didn't like seeing Ellie this way, and I know that's my problem. But
I don't know that you're supposed to sympathize with Ellie at this point.
okay,
Like because doing a terrible thing is doing a terrible thing, and Ellie is doing something terrible right now.
that's true.
Even though she believes she is justified in doing those things, it's still a terrible thing.
Yeah,
And yeah,
but when Joel killed those guys when he was trying to find out, the preacher took Ellie. When he was trying to find out that information, and he kills those two guys, what I recognize it as a terrible thing, but was like okay with it.
so I think the difference here is that we know a little bit about Nora and Abby's backstory. We know that they were Fireflies.
Yeah.
So we don't necessarily because it the in trying to remember where that was.
Well, it was those people that were secret or unknowing cannibals.
Yeah, I was trying to remember the place, but anyway, those people we don't know anything about them. We know barely a thing about them. Whereas with Abby, with Nora, we kind of know why they did the thing they did.
Sure. Yeah.
So they're more three-dimensional characters than the two people that Joel tortured. Um, do we know their names? We don't. I don't think we do know their
I think
names.
their names were Mary and Pippin. They were the other two hobbits. No, that's true. Yeah, I mean, it's a great point. We don't really know anything about them. Let me ask you this though. So, like at this point in the game, I assume it goes down like this with Nora, where she kind of tortures her. But this is after we've watched Ellie in the game kill. Let's be conservative and say 24 people.
It's very conservative.
Like 24 human people. Like, does this hit as hard in the game as it did in last night's episode?
I don't know. I mean, I think it does hit hard. Like, I don't know if it hits as hard.
That's fair. That's fair.
Because I guess the other thing about killing like enemies that are shooting at you or whatever is, again, they don't have names.
Right.
It has a name. Nora is a person.
And you're also shooting people that are shooting at you, so you could argue
Yeah.
self-defense in the mushroom courts. Oh my god, the mushroom courts are brutal.
In Super Mario World.
It's me.
Who's your lawyer?
It's me, I'm your lawyer. Uh, so Darth Ellie's shouting, "Where is she?" and just hitting Nora on the leg with a pipe. Terrible, terrible, terrible stuff. But then it flashes, or it goes to black, and then it goes up again, and we see Abby waking up, and Joel is welcoming her, or Joel's standing in her doorway.
Yeah, I can't believe the first few episodes of this season were a dream.
The whole thing was a
The whole
dream.
thing was a dream.
Dina doesn't really love it, Ellie. She's not going to be a daddy. um, it's young Joel. It's not old Joel. So I feel like it's early on in their time at Jackson. Um, yeah, it's prime Joel. It's he hasn't been beaten down yet by having a teenage daughter again. But it sets up what I've been waiting for is a flashback episode. I can't wait. I hope that's what they do.
I believe it will be a flashback episode.
I think it could be misinterpreted as Ellie is not immune to the spores. She dies down there, and then she's in heaven now.
It's
And
all a fever dream.
yeah, dead. The end. I have a couple questions. This is uh, I mean, this episode got me thinking about an LJ problem, which is if these people die, any of them, Jesse, Tommy, Dina, the baby, if any of them die, then was this worth it? And I call that an LJ problem because in the show Prison Break, they go through all this nonsense to save one guy, and like everybody else they know dies, including a guy named LJ. But I I don't like, is a happy ending conceivable? Or is revenge itself the happy ending? I know you can't tell me because it would spoil things, but it's just something I was thinking about, and I'm frustrated as hell. Okay. What's the most video game moment of this episode?
Um, so I will. I kind of wanted to mention this. So in the previous episode, I talked about watching the
Yes.
next on for this episode,
Right.
and I was excited about what they were like, what they might bring up. The encounter, I think I referred to it as. They did not do that in this episode.
Is it Mushroom Professor on E3? Ah, you finally found my lab.
I will not answer that, but um, suffice it to say, I don't think we've seen the last of the hospital.
Good. Good. Yeah, I mean, if I had to guess, I would say we're going to get that flashback episode, and then the last episode will be all B3. B3 madness. I can't wait. Tune in for that sweet B3 madness.
As for the most video game moment in the show in this episode, I think it is um when Ellie is chasing Nora, because that happens in the game. It basically goes down like what you saw. Ellie confronts Nora. Nora distracts uh, Ellie to get away, and she takes off. And then you have to chase after her, and you're getting shot at while you're
Wow.
chasing her.
Is it one of those chases where if you let her get too far away, then, you fail the mission? And you're just like, shit, which way did she go?
I don't remember ever failing that
Yeah,
part,
yeah.
but I'm assuming probably.
There's these missions in the Spider-Man Sony games where you have to catch birds, and I was just like, this bird's too fast. Couldn't catch him. And he would always get away from me, and they're like, you failed catching bird. All right, I forgot to write down options of how you could die, but let's see what we can cook up. Uh, what were the big deaths in this episode? Piled up under a beautiful portrait. um, stuck on B2. Talking to a loved one on the walkie, and then absorbed into the wall. Man, that's rough. And then how about number 3? Let's say, oh no, what's a good one?
I mean,
Help me.
I would have I would have thought you would have picked. Oh, do you have?
Blocked it out. I had blocked it out. The disembowelment. The
Oh, I
oh,
wasn't even gonna go there.
where were you going? Okay,
Like Nora, unless you assume that she's not dead.
she's coming back. She What if she shows up on B3? All right, I've talked enough about B3. Yeah, let's include that one, but let's also include um that the Seraphite guy is in there with Nora, and he sticks a sickle in her, and then 2 other guys just pull her so that the sickle goes down in your body. Which of those? Oh my God, which one would be worse?
So, I like getting infected on B2. It seems like it would take a while. Like,
It has me wondering about how conscious they are because they're not. Are they just being used as hosts, or is it different? Like, do they know they're there? The humans, you know?
yeah, and I feel like that's a question that hasn't been answered at all in both seasons so far. Like, when you get infected, are you still you?
I
Like
think
they,
there's only two people that can answer that question. One, Abby's dad, and he's dead.
yeah, right.
And number two, mushroom scientist. Oh God. If it were me, I would just take the piled up in body under the portrait because I feel like they were killed pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, it's also possible that they were tortured and killed.
Yeah, you're probably right. You know,
Um,
the
I
Seraphites,
do not.
the disembowelment, it went down pretty quick, actually. Like, it's not like they drew it out. It's not like they spilled his guts and then fed his guts to him or anything. God, ugh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Although I am still picking up piled up underneath the mural because there's a chance that you were killed very quickly.
Oh yeah, okay. Or that you were alive when they were a friend. Like I'm at the bottom of the pile, but I'm gonna lay low. Window watch. I got a couple. I know, just I didn't write these down either. Why didn't I write these down? All right, I have the one. um, Dina. Oh, there's two. No, sorry, I'm a ding dong. There are two window watches this week. One when they're talking about the baby names. There's a shot of them walking through Seattle from inside a window, and it's a beautiful shot. It's kind of an artistic shot. Part of me thinks it was an ADR moment, like they didn't have the character saying a specific line, so they shot him from far away behind a window. It read like that to me. But the other window was Dina's always aware of blind spots and who could be watching them. And one of the things she mentions is the building has lots of coverage, so they won't be able to see us through the windows. But at one point, she says, "Be careful of those windows," and I was like, "Window watch." But that's it, really. Nothing really too significant. But window watch will continue. Uh, let's look forward. Do we know the name of next week's episode yet?
I don't think we do.
Okay.
Like I don't know if you because I watched it on Max. I don't know if you noticed this, but when I watched it on Max, it didn't actually say the name of the episode. It was like episode 5, and then when I finished it, it was Feel Her Love.
You did it again. Oh my God, that's
Yeah, and
crazy.
I don't know if that's just the Max thing or if that's a Last of Us thing. You
Hmm.
know what I mean?
It could be, yeah. I mean, good for them. Did you watch it kind of live or did you watch it after it had been out for a while?
I mean, I watched it a little like it was offset. It was live on tape delay.
uh, yeah, I'm not seeing a title, but that's okay. We will tackle that next week. It's going to be a Joel flashback. We're going to learn this could be the last time we see them together, right?
I mean, possibly. I know this part of the story. Um, I don't know how much they're going to add to it though.
Okay.
Um,
What are the chances? Give me a percentage that Pedro Pascal is in full episodes in season 3. Maybe let's say 3 episodes. Is he going to be featured in 3 episodes, or is it just going to be like 2? Like the Eugene flashback that we were promised and never got. Is he going to be in that one? Things like that.
so if we're gonna, I'm not gonna do percentage.
Okay,
If the over under was 3, I would pick the under.
I'll have to accept that. It's really going to hurt our Pedro Pascal fan channel that we got going.
Yeah, but Joe and I joked about this for a while that for a while our YouTube channel was a Pedro Pascal YouTube channel because all of our content had something to do with Pedro Pascal. And when he died in the second episode of the season and wasn't in a couple of episodes,
Panic.
I was like, well, what are we even doing here?
Yeah, yeah. Like I don't want to finish it.
but now he's back.
Yeah, we'll be back in our glory. We're going to talk about Thunderbolts again, but we'll somehow weave Pedro Pascal into it. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great week.
So do you have any closing thoughts about this episode?
This is a good one. They're all good. I'm on board with this. I'm having a tough time with Evil Ellie, but I think I just need to accept it and let it be. I'm gonna try. I was trying to think of other. I mean, I thought of all those male examples, but there's got to be some really terrific female ones. And the only one that really popped to mind right away was this one character, no spoilers, from Yellow Jackets, who's super evil and is super frustrating, but I love them. So, um, but I'm going to try to think of a few more because it seems weird to be that kind of double standard because girls should be allowed to be just as bad as guys and still be loved. Yeah.
Well, I think for me, like I said, I don't think this is the last time we're gonna see the hospital. We know what's on B1, we know what's on B2, and God willing, we're gonna find out what's on B3.
Wait, I thought you confirmed it was that mushroom scientist. Sorry, no.
I could neither confirm nor deny mushroom scientists.
Oh my God, is it Eddie Vedder? Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Anyway, what do you think is on B3? If you played the game, probably don't spoil it for people.
Yeah, please.
But if you have speculation, feel free to post it in the comments below. And if you liked this episode, be sure to watch some of our older ones, and be sure to like and subscribe. Until next time.